Hello makers, and welcome to Share Stitchery. I'm Catherine Harris, and this is your spot for all things sewing and creative. This week, I wanted to share with you a hack for the Ava Circle Skirt, but really this could be used for any circle skirt, and how you can eliminate the zip closure and make it a stretchy, comfortable skirt that you just slip on using knit fabric. So let's get into that tutorial. Step 1, pattern adjustments. So with this, we're going to cut 2 front pieces because we don't need the back piece because we're eliminating that zipper. For step 2, we're going to sew the side seams together. So you can use clips or ballpoint pins to sew this together, and you're just going to match up with right sides together both the front pieces, which in essence will be our front and our back. And then you're just going to stitch that, and I like to serge the edges. Step 3 is the waistband. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take those pieces and we are going to mark the centers on both the front and back piece because we want to quarter the skirt. This will come in handy later. So tip, use view B, the wide waistband, and only cut one version. You don't need to have an outer waistband and an inner waistband for this hack. So you're going to take that single waistband, place it right sides together, and stitch going down the short end. Next, I am just marking the center point here. And then we want to quarter it, so I'm matching up that seam with that center point that we just drew so that I can mark out the quarter points on both the top and the bottom. And it's very important that you mark both the top and the bottom on the waistband here. Next, we are going to fold it right sides together. And when we do this, we're just going to grab 4 clips and we are going to clip where those quarter points are. So I'm just matching up those notches that I created and placing a clip there. This will ensure that when we're pinning it to the skirt, nothing shifts or moves or twists out of shape. Now we are going to attach it to our skirt. So you can see I have a side seam here, and then we are just going to take one of the side seams on the waistband here, the back seam on the waistband, and I'm just pattern matching this, and I find that this color matches a little bit better than the other side, so I'm going to match this side up with this side seam. So there's only one back seam on our waistband, but you will match that up with one of the side seams on the skirt. And then you're going to find the next quarter point notch and match it up to the next notch on your band. And it makes it nice and handy when you place the clips on the waistband because then you don't have to search for those notches. And then once I've got it all quartered, I'm just going in and I'm putting my clips in here, and you shouldn't really have to stretch it all that much. It should fit almost exactly. Now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to measure about 2 inches, and I like to leave the end right where we have our seam allowance at the back, or that side seam that we've placed it. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually placing pins right there to denote where I'm supposed to stop. That way I don't accidentally go further. And so we are going to stitch, and in my case, I used the overlocker and I serged all the way around, leaving that 2-inch gap so that we can place an elastic in. Next, I used a 1.5-inch elastic, and that works perfectly with the Ava skirt pattern. If you have a different circle skirt pattern, just measure out your waistband and choose the appropriate width of elastic. You're going to place a safety pin on both ends and feed it through. So I am just going in and I am going to feed my elastic through, being very careful not to twist the elastic at all on the waistband as I'm feeding it through. And I'm just going to be pulling it as I go, and your elastic should measure the waist measurement that you have minus 1 inch. And then you're going to add back in a 1/2 inch, and that is for the ease, or the overlap that I'm doing right here. So this overlap, we are just going to zigzag going down here. And so overall, the overall elastic measurement is going to be 1/2 inch smaller than your waist. Then I'm just going to serge that together. Then I'm going to stitch in the ditch along that seam to make sure that my elastic never flips. Step 4, the hem. So with this, you can leave it just as it is, or you can fold it under once and then take it over to your cover stitch or use a zigzag along there to hem it. And now for the reveal. So one of the things that I really like about this hack is the fact that it turns a circle skirt into something that is incredibly comfortable. And it's got a nice thick elastic band that stretches with you and is so cozy to wear. Another great thing about this hack is because it is a knit, you don't necessarily need to finish the bottom edge. I used a scuba in my skirt example here, and I didn't have to finish the edge. Now I could turn it under and I could do that, but I had very limited fabric with this scuba knit, and it was short enough as it is. Ideally, I probably would have made it a couple inches longer than what it was, but this is perfect for spring, summer, which we are transitioning to. Another great version with this hack is by taking the Ava Circle Skirt doll version and hacking it into a knit version, because little girls find it easier to slip it on, especially if they're younger. That being said, I do like the zipper on the doll just so that they can get an idea of how to work those zippers and really build on those skills. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing and smashing that bell notification down below so you don't miss a beat. Until next time, makers, let's get our sewspiration on.